What's up? I'm Lily Revenge Crown, brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go.
The late afternoon sun streamed through the venue's floor-to-ceiling windows, catching the facets of my necklace and sending tiny rainbows across the white tablecloth. My wedding dress was perfect, the champagne was flowing, and my husband Daniel sat beside me with that quiet confidence I'd fallen in love with 2 years ago. Everything was exactly as I'd planned, including what was about to happen. Aunt Margaret wasn't supposed to notice the jewelry. She was my mother's older sister, the one who'd married a jewelry appraiser and spent 30 years learning to identify quality stones at a glance. The one my mother usually kept at arm's length during family events because, as she'd said during wedding planning, Margaret has opinions about everything. She did. And apparently, she had excellent taste in diamonds. A diamond set. My father's voice came out strangled. He set down his whiskey glass with a sharp click against the guest book table. Margaret, what are you talking about? My sister Brianna's hand froze mid-gesture, her left hand still extended to show our cousin the pendant she'd been wearing. A delicate crystal piece she'd bought at a department store last month. She'd been calling it her statement necklace and had mentioned 3 times already that it catches the light beautifully. Aunt Margaret pulled out her jeweller's loop from her clutch purse, something she carried everywhere. May I? She asked me, gesturing toward my necklace. I nodded, lifting my chin slightly. She examined the necklace for a moment, then the matching earrings, then the bracelet on my wrist. When she looked up, her eyes were wide with professional appreciation. These are extraordinary. Natural diamonds, exceptional clarity, probably VVS 1 grade. The necklace alone is worth at least 100,000. The full set? Easily 180. Possibly more depending on the certification. My mother's heavy perfume, the one she wore to every important event, suddenly felt suffocating. Her fingers gripped the edge of the guest book table. Surely they're just really good replicas. Right, sweetheart. They are real, Daniel said quietly beside me, his hand finding mine. My mother's family has been in the diamond business for 3 generations. This set belonged to my grandmother. She wanted Sophia to have it. The word Sophia hung in the air like a declaration of ownership. Your grandmother's diamonds. My father's face had gone from confused to calculating in seconds. Well, obviously those are family heirlooms. They should stay in the family. Perhaps they could be reset and divided between both girls. There it was. The inevitable redistribution. The family tax on anything I received. Brianna found her voice, her earlier embarrassment transforming into familiar entitlement. Actually, Dad's right. It's not fair for you to have an entire diamond set when I don't have anything. We should at least split them. You get the necklace, I get the earrings and bracelet. That's equal. Equal would be each of you receiving gifts from your respective in-laws, Daniel said, his tone pleasant but firm. These are my family's diamonds. Given specifically to Sophia. But we're sisters, Brianna protested. Sisters share. That's what family does. Aunt Margaret had gone very quiet, her jeweller's loop still in her hand, her expression shifting from admiration to discomfort as she realized what she'd triggered. My mother's rehearsed smile was cracking at the edges. The smile she'd perfected over 35 years of marriage. The smile that said everything was fine while her mind worked through damage control scenarios. Margaret, perhaps we shouldn't discuss valuations at the wedding. It's tacky. What's tacky is asking someone to divide their wedding gift, Aunt Margaret replied mildly. But what do I know? I'm just the family member who actually understands jewelry. My father's jaw tightened. This isn't about understanding jewelry. This is about understanding family. Sophia's always had advantages. The least she can do is share. Advantages. I set down my champagne glass carefully. What advantages exactly? You know what I mean, my father said. You've always had everything work out for you. Good grades. Good job. Now a wealthy husband. Meanwhile, Brianna struggles. Brianna has a master's degree and a management position, I said quietly. I wouldn't call that struggling. She has student loans, my mother cut in. Significant ones. While you somehow graduated debt-free. I graduated debt-free because I worked 40 hours a week through graduate school, I corrected. while living in a studio apartment and eating rice and beans most nights. And we helped you, my mother insisted. You helped by co-signing my private loan, I said. Which I paid off 3 years early. You also mentioned that loan in at least one argument per month for 6 years. Brianna leaned forward, her department store necklace catching the light weakly compared to my diamonds. This isn't about the past. This is about now. You have $180,000 in jewelry sitting on your body. I have a necklace I bought at Macy's. How is that fair? Life isn't fair, Daniel interjected smoothly. But the solution isn't redistributing my family's heirlooms. It's accepting that different people receive different gifts. My mother stood abruptly, smoothing down her dress. I think we need to discuss this privately. As a family. No, I said, and was surprised by how steady my voice sounded. We'll discuss it here. Now. With witnesses. My father's face flushed red. Witnesses? What are you implying? From my small beaded clutch, I pulled out a folded document. I'd been carrying it since this morning, wondering if I'd need it. Aunt Margaret's perfectly timed observation had made the decision for me. This is a notarized declaration, I said, unfolding it on the table beside the guest book. Executed 3 weeks ago and filed with my attorney. It states that all jewelry, gifts, and personal property given to me cannot be transferred, sold, divided, or encumbered without my explicit written consent, witnessed by legal counsel. The table went silent. Even the background music from the string quartet seemed to fade. You got lawyers involved. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. Against your own family. I got lawyers involved to protect myself, I corrected. My colleague Jennifer is a family law attorney. She drafted this after Thanksgiving. What happened at Thanksgiving? Brianna demanded. You spent 3 hours talking about your student loan debt, I said. And Mom spent another 2 hours suggesting that since Daniel's family clearly has significant wealth, perhaps they could help fund your loan payoff as a wedding gift to the family. I was joking, my mother said quickly. You sent me 4 follow-up texts, I replied. And Dad called Daniel's father directly to discuss family financial planning. My father's face went from red to purple. That was a courtesy call. Man to man. That was a negotiation, Daniel said, his voice dropping to match my father's tone. You suggested that since my family was investing in Sophia, they should consider investing in family harmony by helping with Brianna's loans. Aunt Margaret made a small sound of surprise. Several nearby guests had stopped pretending not to listen. This is inappropriate, my mother hissed. We're at your wedding. Which makes it the perfect time to clarify boundaries, I said. Before anyone starts planning how to redistribute my wedding gifts. Wedding gifts are meant to be shared, Brianna insisted. That's literally the point of family supporting family. Wedding gifts are meant for the couple getting married, Aunt Margaret interjected quietly. Not for the couple's siblings to divvy up. My mother shot her sister a sharp look. This doesn't concern you, Margaret. I made it concern me when I identified $180,000 in diamonds, Aunt Margaret replied calmly. And I'm glad I did, because apparently this conversation needed to happen. My father turned to Daniel, man-to-man positioning. Surely you understand family obligation. Your mother gave Sophia those diamonds. That's a family investment. Family should benefit. My mother gave Sophia those diamonds because she wanted Sophia to have security independent of anyone, Daniel replied. His hand tightened slightly on mine. Including me. The jewelry is titled to Sophia personally in our family's estate documentation. Titled. My mother's voice climbed. Jewelry can be titled. When it's worth this much, yes, Aunt Margaret confirmed. Smart planning, actually, protects it from being claimed as marital property or family assets. Brianna stood up, her crystal necklace swaying. This is insane. You're hoarding jewelry while I'm drowning in debt. How can you even wear those diamonds knowing I'm struggling? You're not drowning, I said quietly. You have a payment plan. You have a good job. You have a fiancé with a stable income. You're not struggling. You're just angry that I have something you want. Because you always have something I want, Brianna shot back. The better grades. The better job. The wealthy in-laws. The perfect life. And you never share any of it. I shared my college fund when you needed your study abroad semester financed, I said. I shared my graduation money when you needed first and last month's rent. I shared my Christmas bonus when you needed car repairs. I've been sharing for 15 years. What I'm not sharing anymore are gifts that were given specifically to me. My mother's mask was fully cracking now. Our photographer, who'd been capturing reception moments, paused nearby with her camera raised. My mother didn't notice. You've always been selfish, my mother said, her voice shaking. Even as a child. Always keeping things for yourself. Never thinking about your sister. About what she needs. I've thought about Brianna constantly, I replied. I thought about her when I worked double shift so the family could afford her sorority fees. I thought about her when I postponed my own graduate school so the family could help with her car payment. I thought about her every single time I said yes when I wanted to say no. Then say yes now, Brianna demanded. Give me the earrings at least. You don't need the whole set. The set stays together, Daniel said firmly. That's how my grandmother wanted it. That's how it will remain. My father stood, drawing himself to full height. We're her parents. We have a right to. You have a right to nothing, I interrupted. My voice was steady, clear. You have no right to my jewelry. No right to my assets. No right to demand I share gifts given specifically to me. The reception hall had grown progressively quieter. 170 guests were now witnessing the complete breakdown of my family's carefully maintained facade. Daniel's parents sat at their table, his mother's face sad but unsurprised. She'd warned me this might happen. She'd seen it coming at our engagement party, when my mother had suggested Daniel's mother share her jewelry collection with both daughters to be fair. If you do this, my mother said slowly, if you keep those diamonds all to yourself, you're choosing Daniel's family over your own. I'm choosing myself, I said. For the first time in 32 years, I'm choosing myself. My mother picked up her clutch purse. Then I think we need to leave. Mom, Brianna started, but my mother held up her hand. We're going, she announced. Your sister can enjoy her diamonds and her new family. She's made her values very clear. They stood together, my parents and Brianna, a united front of wounded pride and redirected anger. They walked toward the exit, my mother's heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor, my father's hand on her elbow, Brianna trailing behind with one last look at my necklace. Aunt Margaret remained seated, looking stricken. I'm so sorry. I should have kept my mouth shut. Don't apologize, Daniel said firmly. You identified beautiful jewelry. Their reaction revealed their character, not yours. The string quartet resumed playing. Conversations slowly restarted. The photographer tactfully moved to capture a different section of the reception. I sat back down, my hands trembling slightly. The diamonds around my neck suddenly felt heavier. Daniel handed me my champagne glass. You were perfect. They left my wedding, I said. They actually walked out. They'll be back, Aunt Margaret said quietly. Probably tomorrow. With apologies and explanations. With new plans for how you should help Brianna with her student loans. And I'll say no, I said. Good, Aunt Margaret replied, raising her glass. To saying no. To boundaries. To those magnificent diamonds that are entirely yours. Daniel's mother approached our table, her expression warm but concerned. Sweetheart, are you all right? I looked at her. At this woman who'd given me her family's diamonds because she wanted me to have security. Who'd never once suggested I should share them with anyone. Who'd understood, from the very first family dinner, exactly what my family was like. I'm okay, I said. And I was surprised to realize I meant it. The reception continued. Dinner was served. Toasts were made. Daniel and I had our first dance while 170 guests watched and Aunt Margaret chatted with Daniel's parents, apologizing repeatedly for triggering the confrontation. The photographer circulated, capturing joy and laughter and celebration. She didn't photograph the empty seats where my family had sat today. She didn't capture their absence. By the time our wedding album was complete, it would look as if they'd never been there at all. 4 weeks later, Daniel and I returned from our honeymoon in Bali. We'd spent 16 days in a private villa, completely disconnected. My phone had been off the entire time. When I turned it on at the airport, There were 190 missed calls. 81 from my mother. 30 from Brianna. 8 from my father. There were also 73 text messages. They followed a predictable pattern. Anger. Accusations. Guilt. Bargaining. More guilt. Demands for immediate contact. Threats about family consequences. And finally, on day 14, a message from my mother. We need to talk reasonably. Brianna's loan payment is due. Surely you could sell just the earrings. I deleted every message without fully reading them. Daniel watched me from across our bedroom. Our bedroom. In the house his parents had helped us buy. The bedroom where I kept the diamonds in a safe, in my name only. Are you calling them back? No, I said simply. Good, he replied. Want to see what my mom sent while we were gone? He showed me his phone. A message from his mother. Hope the honeymoon was everything you dreamed. No rush to respond. We deposited a little something in Sophia's account as a welcome home gift. Use it however you want. Love you both. No demands. No strings. No emergency requiring immediate attention. Just love without conditions. I touched the diamonds at my throat. The necklace Daniel had clasped around my neck on our wedding day. The earrings that caught light with every movement. The bracelet that reminded me, every time I saw it, that I was worth protecting. Not because of what I could give. Not because of what I could share. But because I existed. Because I mattered. Because someone had looked at me and decided I deserved beautiful things. I'm going to be okay, I said, more to myself than to Daniel. You're going to be better than okay, he corrected. You're going to be free. He was right. For the first time in my life, wearing diamonds worth more than some people's cars, I was completely, undeniably, beautifully free. The wedding photos arrived 10 weeks later. The photographer had done exactly what I'd requested. She'd edited out the empty chairs. She'd cropped out the confrontation. She'd focused on joy, on celebration, on the glitter of diamonds in afternoon sunlight. There was one photo I kept separate. The one she'd taken of my mother's face when the mask shattered. When the controlled expression finally broke. I didn't frame it. I didn't display it. But I saved it in a folder labeled simply, Truth. A reminder of what conditional love looks like. A reminder of what I walked away from. A reminder of why the diamonds have only one name in the estate documentation. My name. My jewelry. My choice. My life. Finally.